Welcome to another episode of Shore Shade University. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to be demonstrating swapping the canvas on an MTF shade. We're also going to replace the gearbox with handle, and we're going to replace the port side clamp with axle with our newly redesigned parts. So to do that, I'll show you the new parts that we're going to be using. Here's our newly redesigned gearbox with our new end cap, with all the new additional screws put in place to keep the roller from egging when you're rolling, and the newly redesigned port side clamp with axle. The older units, as you can see here, most of the time what tends to happen is this little bushing, this little black bushing squirts out in it and has to be replaced. And then what happens sometimes on the gearbox side here, the gearbox will split here. This is the newer redesign with the screw and the nut holding it together. Sometimes these split out, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to be swapping this out to a new one. So what you need to understand when you do this is the MTF shade, both of these actuators have large springs in them that are now compressed, because the canvas, the only thing holding this in is this canvas. As you can see, this is a extreme case where this canvas is dry rotted and we have it's ripping. So the customer is kind enough to put a strap around it so that this don't rip the rest of the way. These actuators will come flying out and be destroyed. So what we're going to try and do now is very carefully remove this strap. Then we're going to have to try and extend the shade out without the loss of this canvas. So we're gonna have to be really careful with that. Okay, now what we're gonna do is I'm being very careful. I'm holding this in so that it doesn't shoot out if the canvas rips. You gotta be very careful. So I'm gonna start unwinding it. Should be okay. What you want to make sure of is normally these loops will catch these tabs. You want to make sure that they don't catch. So you want to lift them up and over the billows loop tab so that they do not catch, because you have to extend these all the way out 100%. So we're going to lift that up and over. Do the same with this one. Same with this one. And you keep on going all the way out. And as you can see now, the canvas is just becoming baggy. The canvas roller is still turning. And you just keep on going. The actuators are not extending anymore. It's just the canvas coming off the roller. And we're going to keep going until now, as you can see, our roller is exposed. Now those actuators are extended 100%. They're not under any load at all. So now you can safely work on the system. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll remove this canvas from the roller. There's just screws, Phillips head screws that go through the canvas that hold it on. There's no washers on there. It's not necessary. Once the screw goes in and it wraps around the roller, it's all held in place. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take those out now. All right, the next step is we're going to remove the outer crossbar screws and hold the outer crossbar in. That's one. Try not to drop them in the water. Makes putting it back together a little harder. That's two. Okay. little persuasion. So normally what you would find in here is a set screw or an Allen head, an 1/8 inch Allen, but someone in the past has put a Phillips head screw in here. We're gonna have to try and remove this. Set that aside. And now we can take the canvas off of this. Okay. Next step in the procedure, we're going to remove the mid crossbar. And this is not necessary for the replacement of the parts, but I just want to check alignment and see if anything needs to be replaced while we're here. A little bit of corrosion on there. Okay, we'll set that on the deck. And again, the mid bar does not have to come off to do the replacement of the gearbox or the port side clamp. Just checking to make sure that the screws were in good condition, those weren't broken or needing replacement. So the next step is choose either the gearbox handle side or the port side. But what we can do is we're going to take the whole roller assembly down because we're replacing both, and we're going to put it on the dock so that we can work on it easier. So I'll go ahead and start with that disassembly. Okay. So we can loosen up this set screw here. Take it about 90% of the way out. There's another one on the other side that we're going to get to. Take that one out. And all that does is that holds that axle in to the end of the roller tube. Okay, there's that screw is out. That screw is out. As you can see now, this axle just slides into the end of this end cap. That screw goes all the way through to hold that axle in place. But the reason why we upgraded the cap is because of this wobble that people complained of. We're trying to remove the majority of that out of it. All right, so now we're going to try and remove these clamps. I'm hoping they don't break. They're pretty tight. Try and rock them back and forth. Get some of the corrosion out. If they snap off, there's nothing we can do. We've got a new clamp. It just makes life difficult if they break off. All right, that side's loose. Now we're going to jump back over to the other side, and we're going to try and remove the same two screws that go into the end of the roller cap. One. There's quite a bit of corrosion built up on those. All right, so now this should be free. There it is. Now what you can do is we're going to slide all the way over, lower it, and then we're going to pull it out of the other side. All right, so now the roller tube is free. We'll set that down. Now we can proceed with removing the gearbox. And that's just held in by these two 3/16 inch screws that are probably very corroded, but we'll try and get them out. All right, let's try the other side here. All right, I wanted to show you the difference between the old version versus the new and why we changed them. The mounts themselves are the same, but instead of just putting a sleeve in here, we've now put this Delrin plastic that is a perfect length. So when all this is put together, this doesn't have a way of squeezing out. Like, as you could see, this one pushed in and is coming out the other side, which is a known issue. So we redesigned them. Instead of just having two screws that hold the end cap on and two axle pinch bolts, we now have the axle through bolts and then two that pinch it to keep it from egging when it's rolling. So we'll reinstall these. Okay, next step in the process is we're going to take the old end caps out, which are just held in with two opposing set screws. And the new ones, as you can see, we've added set screws to all quadrants to keep it from rocking. We did the same with the axle. So we've removed them from the units, and now we're going to proceed to install them. So we'll go ahead and start by taking this one out. All right, there's the starboard side. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to remove all of our screws from the existing new end cap to get it prepared to go in. We're going to go ahead and place it in the end. All right, now we got this one lined up. We're going to put a screw in it to hold it in place. Okay. See if we can line the other one up. That should be the one hole that we need additional. That should be the other one. We'll check it. Remove these out. So now we're going to drill.
Or you can catch it with that.
Okay, we'll reinsert our end cap to make sure that our holes are lining up. Let's see. Get that one lined up. That one. As you can see, our holes are lined up. That one. And that one. So we'll just open them up a little bit so we can get the screw through. Okay, right size hole. Now what we're going to do is we're going to countersink these so that the screws will fit in them, right? Oh, what a wonderful sound. Okay, it's more than enough. They don't have to be perfectly flush. They just need to sit down in there so they don't eat into the canvas. Okay, so now we're going to take the cap in. We have all our holes drilled. Just insert the screws. Just start each one of them. I do the two original first. Okay, they're all started, so I'll just tighten them up. And again, no Loctite, please. And just snug. They don't have to be gorilla tight. Don't clamp down on them. They're not going to fall out. You have the canvas wrapped around it that holds them in place. Okay? So now we have all four of them in place. All right, we'll move on to the other side. Okay, when you're installing your new end caps, it might be a good idea. Try and mark your cap with some type of a marking that lets you know that it's, you know, these are the holes you're using in that order. So this one is number 1, going all the way across. I've labeled the opposite side number 2. You want to line the edge of your hole up with the hole here. Same on the other side. Then find a way to take the edge of this, run your marker all the way around so that you have the middle of your hole on both ends. And now you can mark your cross to where you can punch your hole. So now we should be able to take our drill and punch our hole. It's going to be an 11/64. Watch your hands. Put them underneath the drill bit. Okay, now you can try and stick your end cap back in and see if you get your holes to line up. Okay, so we've got all of our holes drilled, our new ones done. We've got them countersunk. So now we're going to put our screws in for good, just like on the other side. Tight, start across from each other. Okay, so now port and starboard side, our new end caps are on. Now what we're going to do is, we have in our new end caps, you'll see that you have one hole that's larger than the other. This hole doesn't have any threads in it. This one does. This hole you're going to put your screws in. Those are your pinch bolts. They do not go through the axle shaft. Okay, so now what we did was we came back out to the boat. We've got our new end caps in, both port and starboard side. Got all of our screws secured. These two screws are smaller diameter, threaded hole, of course, as you can see. This hole is unthreaded, okay? That is going to be your axle bolt that just drops in. And what that's going to do is that is going to thread into your axle. So when this goes in here, you want to line those two holes up, and you're going to put your screw down through there to catch the threads in this hole, and that'll lock your axle in place. The other two are just meant to sandwich that in there and pinch it. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and we'll get to putting this back up on the boat. We got port and starboard marked. Again, pick whichever side you like. It doesn't really matter. You could start on port, you could start on starboard. Our customer has asked us to make a change. Normally when you install these, this clamp assembly goes on the port side, the gearbox assembly goes on the starboard side. That's the way we'd like it to be installed, but as you can see, the owner has a step here that people climb on and off the boat, and when they step on here, they smack their head or stand the chance of smacking their head on it. If you have that come up and you have to, you can install it on the other side, but we would rather it be on the starboard side. Keeps everything uniform. Okay, so we're going to remove our screws. Again, this is going to now be the starboard side clamp assembly. And I'll show you something real quick. So when you put these on, you want to put them together to where both of these spaces are even. You don't want to pinch the one side and leave the other side like that. That's incorrect. You want them even when you tighten them up across the board, okay? Just need to start them. Make sure you're not cross-threading them at all. Spin it around to, of course, the direction you want them to be. I'm just going to be pointing inboard. Okay. And you want them to be loose, but you don't want to lose this axle, so I'd suggest pulling it out. Stick it in your pocket for now until you're ready for it, because if it flips this way, it's going right in the drink. So that one is sitting there ready to go. Now we'll get the other side. Okay, so now we're going to take the gearbox and mount it on the port side. Again, you're just looking to get these started. Okay, you want to make sure you have equal distance from here to the clamp as you do on the port side. We're not going to set that right now, but you don't want it all the way at the end. You want it about an inch, inch and a half off the end of the actuator arm. Okay, you want to tighten these up to where it starts to grab a little bit. Okay, so it's pretty tight on there, but you can still move it. And you want equal spacing between this clamp half and the upper clamp half. You don't want one end pinched and the other one sandwiched on there, okay? All right, so now we're gonna grab our roller. Grab your axle whenever you're ready. Okay, reinsert it back into the end. And you're going to pick your mount up, and what you can do is you're going to line up your hole with your axle hole, okay? Make sure these are out of the way. Let's take it over a little bit. There we go. All right, you look in through there, those are pretty lined up. Two axle bolts. Okay, start that one. And then you want to come around to the other side and start this one. Okay, what you don't want to do is you don't want to smash this one all the way down and then this one doesn't make its way into the axle. You want to tighten them up evenly until you get them both nice and tight. Okay, you see they're both almost tight in there, so go ahead and snug them up. Okay, now we're going to tighten these two. Again, not gorilla tight, just snug. Okay, now those are tight. Now we'll get to the pinch bolts. Tighten that till it touches. Tighten the other side till it touches. Maybe a quarter turn more. Okay, that's it. Okay, we're not going to tighten the clamp yet until we get the other side done, but we can snug it up a little bit more. I'll leave everything the way it is, move it to the other side, and repeat the same process. Okay, we got our holes lined up, so we're going to insert our axle bolts. And start the one. Now that you got this one bolt in, you'll notice you can't turn the roller. So you'd have to do it with the handle. So the hard top's hitting right now, so we'll have to move this out a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the axle around to this side so we can put the other, start that one, tighten that one down, tighten this axle bolt down, okay, and snug them up. Okay, now we're going to snug up our pinch bolts till they touch. Okay, and then we're going to go a quarter turn more. Okay. So now that's on there nice and tight. Now the only thing we have left to do is tighten down our mount to hold everything in place. So we're going to keep this as far aft on the actuator as we can, because even though the customer wants this here, it's not ideal because you see you're going to get your fingers smashed. But we'll leave it there. It'd be better to have more spacing. So again, what we're looking for is we're looking to tighten these clamps up so they're even. Okay, again, not gorilla tight, just finger tight. If you look, you can see there's about equal spacing in the top and the bottom of the clamps. So you're not pinching one and smashing the other one, okay? So you want to make sure that these are about equal. All right, so we've got this one as far out on the end of the actuator as we can get it, just like the other side. Give him enough room so he didn't really smash his fingers. I'm gonna tighten these up. All right, so now we got to install the canvas. So I rotated the roller around to where we've got our holes, our 4 holes that this is going in. Of course, your new canvas is not going to have holes punched in it. You can do one of 2 things. You can take the old canvas, made it up to this one, punch the holes in it. I prefer to do it this way because no one wants to say that the first canvas that was installed was perfect, so we're going for that. So what we're going to do is you're going to make sure you've got equal distance on either end of the roller, and you're going to pull, make sure that you've got the same amount of spacing, and we've got about 1/4 inch on either side of the end of the roller. So we're going to line our holes up and just start one at a time. You're going to punch your hole, which I've already previously started the hole. Okay. Again, folks, the only thing that goes in here is the little Phillips head screw. There's no washer. Snug. No, the tighter you go, the bigger you're going to make the hole. It's going to fail, so don't do that. And you want it, when you punch your hole, you want to make sure you're as close to the middle of this patch as you can get, even all the way across. Pull it nice and snug. Preferably have a hole punch. smaller the hole you can make, the better off you'll be. That's it. Okay. All right. Next step, we're going to install our mid crossbar. When you get done installing your screw, you want to make sure that when this screw goes in, it's not bottoming out on this tube, and that you could see space between this tongue and that tube. Okay, just make sure it's not dragging. Goes in and out nice and easily. Perfect. Go get the other side. Okay, so now that we've got everything mounted up, mid crossbar, it's time to put our outer crossbar back in. So we remove the one end of the elbow so that we can get it into the pocket. And feed that tube in. Okay. Over. We'll go ahead and put this back together. Okay. Now we're going to take this and we're going to put this into our. You go over this. Yes, sir. Up and over. Guys, when you put these in, go ahead, Ed. Put your side in first. Okay. Do you see how this tube is going to drop right in here like that? That's correct. If your tube looks like this, or like this, and you have to pull or push this rod, then it's not installed parallel. You have to rectify that. Otherwise the shade's not going to operate correctly. Okay, that dropped right in there, which tells me that both of these actuators are installed parallel. They're not towed in or towed out. Okay, so now we're going to take our screws and put them back into our outer crossbar. Okay, we're good there.
What about these?
Now what we're going to do is, the next step is we're going to retract the canvas. So what you want is, if you want to come up here, we'll...
Yep.
It's very important that when you roll this back up, you want these edges edge to edge. You don't want it rolling up like an accordion, okay? You want it rolling edge to edge. So right now, let's switch sides. I'll work this end. You want to have someone with you, pull on the canvas here, okay?
Yeah.
And then when you start reeling it back in, once you get around to where it comes in, you want to feed your canvas up and over, okay? So that it doesn't make like a big knot. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to get going, and you want the edges of the canvas to be on top of each other. All right, now you can let go, Ed. So now if you look, we've got it edge to edge, okay, both sides, and now you can see where it's starting to tighten, edge to edge. So now what we can do is we can start to reel this in, and now we're past our loops. So for this first time, we're going to come all the way in. Okay. Dispel a myth that everybody believes. These actuators are not designed to collapse all the way in. Where it is right now is fully retracted. Okay, this is full retraction. These corner pieces here, if you look at this, see how tight that is? Okay, if you go any more and you watch the angle, all you're doing is yanking. That's why this corner is here, because when you over retract it, which this is now over retracted, you're putting an enormous amount of pressure right here and you're going to rip the canvas. So that is the perfect amount for retracted. That's it. Okay, now we'll go ahead and run it back out. And guys, because there's giant springs in here, going out, you could do this with 2 fingers. Coming back, you're compressing those springs, so it's going to be harder. This last 18 to 20 inches is the hardest, but going out, you can sit here and twirl it with your finger. Okay, and our loops are almost caught, and you're going to keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop right there. That's fully extended. If you keep going, see how this is, you know, semi-tight? If you keep going out, you see how now it's bagging? Because it's hung on here, between there and there is tight. This is overextended. That's perfect. Okay? That's it. That concludes the replacement of everything. If you have any questions, give us a call. 877-333-8323, extension 2. We'll give you a hand. Thank you.